The JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of anywhere else? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They talk down to us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of Undisputed talking about the whole Travis Kelce sideline outburst. I think this was a massive disgrace, and I knew that if the Chiefs won, it was just going to be swept under the rug. But the truth is that if they lost, everybody would have been talking about this. This would have been a bigger deal. And even, who knows if the Chiefs would have come out and said anything. But now people are saying, well, Andy Reid said that it was nothing. Because they just won the Super Bowl. Like, what do you think he's going to say? Like, of course he's going to say it's nothing. Andy Reid's not happy about that. It is a disgrace, him doing that. It's not just passion and energy and competitive fire. It's a disgrace. So I'm really interested to see what they have to say. I'm sure some of them are going to say it's awful. Some of them are going to say what I just said about it being just passion and this and that. But
good morning. It is time to skip the BS. Time for Undisputed. Time to talk Super Bowl fallout with Richard Sherman and Keyshawn Johnson. Morning, gentlemen.
What's happening?
About to hear it. USA Today worked with, going way back in the day, a man I've known for 42 years, a journalist, not known for overreaction. So I took these words to heart and to the bank when I read them this morning from Jarrett Bell, who wrote, imagine what the reaction would have been if Terrell Owens had screamed into the face and bumped his coach during a heat-of-the-moment tantrum in the middle of the Super Bowl, or Antonio Brown, or A.J. Brown, or Tyreek Hill. Jarrett continued to write, I'm guessing the reaction would have been much different if a high-profile, supercharged, and competitive black player unloaded on his coach with the same tacky irreverence that Travis Kelce demonstrated with his blow-up on Andy Reid in Super Bowl 58. Instead, Jarrett Bell wrote, after Kansas City, of course, won a second straight Super Bowl, Kelce was able to laugh off the incident, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes were able to dismiss it as just competitive fire. So, Richard, please, you first. Does Jarrett Bell have a...
I just really want to say right off the bat, the whole race thing I think is absolutely absurd. And I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Because A.J. Brown has carried on and freaked out and has yelled and carried on and has gotten away with it with Nick Sirianni. He's a black player. Terrell Owens, teams took on a lot of crap from Terrell Owens. Andy Reid included. Okay? Back with the Eagles. And he's a black player. Antonio Brown. The Steelers put up with a ton. Same thing with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Okay? They dealt with a lot of his crap. So this idea that it was a black-white thing, I wholeheartedly disagree. This is not a race thing. We can talk about this issue and have it not be a race thing. This is not a race. My favorite one of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to butcher right now, is by Marcellus Wiley, a black athlete, who says, if you treat the race card like you treat a gun, if you're going to use it, if you're going to use it, it better be for a true reason, And this is not it. You can't just throw the race card willy-nilly. This has nothing to do where if Travis Kelce was black, it would be different. Travis Kelce is just Travis Kelce. Right now, he is larger than life. He is one of the most, if not more famous than Patrick Mahomes right now. Patrick Mahomes is more famous within the football world, of course. Travis Kelce is more famous in just the world because of Travis Kelce, because he already has the football fame. Now, obviously, add the Taylor Swift boom, okay? He is larger than life, and he's obviously at the top of his game, Hall of Famer. People compare him to say that he's potentially the best tight end ever. At the very least, he's top 2, top 3, right? He's still one of the best to ever do it. That's why he gets away with what he got away with. And the fact that they won the Super Bowl. That's why. Nothing to do with this race. If you want to talk about white privilege, nothing to do with white privilege. It all has to do with just success privilege, skill privilege, fame privilege, beast privilege, winning privilege. That's what it has to do with. Nothing to do with race, nothing to do with race. Not a doubt in my mind. The NFL is run and filled with black athletes. There's not this racism going on in that regard, okay? It's just not. It just doesn't make any sense. Andy Reid went out and got Michael Vick as his quarterback, who was coming out of jail for murdering and torturing dogs, okay? So if race had anything to do with those aspects, Andy Reid would be like, I don't want that guy with me, even though he already had Donovan McNabb as his quarterback back when there wasn't a whole lot of black quarterbacks at the time. So to add race into this, or if like Andy Reid would have treated it differently if it was a black player or not, or if maybe they're saying that the media would have treated it differently, that's fine, I guess. But I think the media would have been all over this if the Chiefs lost. But since they won, no one wants to talk about it. Because again, you ask the players and they're like, it doesn't matter. They're popping champagne. Travis Kelce's kissing Taylor Swift on the field. So it just changes everything.
A point.
I mean, yeah, you got a point. You're a black man in America. It's been like that for a long time. But at the end of the day, in this situation, they won the ball game. That's why it's not a big deal. That's why it's not going to get blown up the way everybody would expect it to any other time. If they lost this game, we'd be sitting there saying that was the reason, that was the breaking point. Hey, this may be the end of the dynasty. That's when the things start crumbling right there. The pressure got to be too much. Was it the Taylor Swift effect? We'd be talking about all that. They won the game. So that's why they get to downplay it. They get to say it wasn't that big a deal. Andy Reid's going to downplay it. But you're right. If it was A.J. Brown, if it was A.B., if it was T.O. back in the day, I mean, we'd be talking about that being a storyline of his career, of his legacy, of who he is. 100%, this situation is different. I mean, we talked about CeeDee Lamb and Dak when all CeeDee Lamb did was just walk away. He nodded his head and then walked away and sat on the sideline, didn't say anything. We still talked about how he was on the sideline and his actions and was he
Remember, Mike McCarthy felt like he needed to go over and sort of talk him back up,
right.
Yeah.
And this situation, this guy, Travis, went and said whatever he said to Andy, bumped him, and did all that, and we're going to downplay it because they won the game. So, I mean, Jared has a point, but at the end of the day, they won the game, so that's how it goes.
Okay, but will it resonate? In fact, you said something to me during a break yesterday, I believe. Like, will some kid somewhere say, I can do that to my coach? Because I saw Travis Kelce do it. That's just how you react? Is that how you...
That was key. That he was trying to teach the kid. That wasn't you?
It must have been Michael. It wasn't me. Because I promise you it wasn't me.
No.
Because badass kids going to do what they do anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's just the reality of it in sports. I deal with youth sports.
You do.
Trust me,
you do.
Skip.
Yes.
They going to do it anyway.
Right.
Jared Bell, I don't know if you know him, Richard, at all, but Jared Bell is 100% accurate. Mm-hmm. It's 100% accurate.
Have you dealt with Jared?
Oh, my God. It's like one of my closest, one of my closest journalist buddies.
Yep.
But everybody plays the rules are different for everybody.
No question.
They're just different for everybody, right? And what I mean by that, and I'm not talking about Kelce being white and these other guys being black. They're different for everybody. And what I mean by that is the people in the booth who's calling the game, they're the ones who start from the top to the bottom that bring the attention.
That is true.
If they drive it home, a la Joe Buck, Minnesota Vikings, Randy Moss, Green Bay Packers, he drove it home. You may not remember this because you was in high school or so at the time. He drove the mooning home.
It was to a point,
to a point where it's probably one of his darkest moments in his illustrious broadcasting career. Am I right or wrong, Skip? And he has
became one of, to that. Because of that, became one of Randy's darkest moments.
It became one of Randy's darkest moments because he drives it home.
Right. They did not drive it. Jim and Tony did not drive this home.
They did not.
No.
They did not. So whenever you see the people upstairs calling the games, they drive those things home.
So I think that's a great point. But it's also the Super Bowl and so much is happening. So there was no time for them to be able to drive that home, right? If this was a regular season game or at a different moment or even just another playoff game, then I would say that they would be able to drive it home more, but they weren't really able to. They barely even drove it home at the halftime show. They barely even really talked about it. They just wanted to like move on. I also feel like the NFL was like, no, let's move on. And because the NFL doesn't want that, whether they're black, white, whoever, they want to just move on. They don't want that type of controversy. It's a bad look for the NFL that they don't want. That's not what they want. But everyone is treated differently, and obviously race factors in life plenty of time. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but in these situations, again, think about how many chances Antonio Brown was given. Whether it be with the Steelers, and then the Raiders wanted him, and then the way how he acted with the Raiders, if you remember, that was even on Hard Knocks, and it was just like, oh my God, it was ridiculous. He was videotaped, he like recorded a conversation with his head coach, whose name is completely slipped my mind right now. Chucky, can't think of his name. John Gruden, and yet Tampa Bay was still like, we'll take him. Or the Patriots were talking about potentially having him like at that time or whatever. Was he with the Patriots? I forget now. I think he got signed by the Patriots and then he had to get let go. Right. I think he got signed by the Patriots and then was let go because of like a sexual assault allegation. Right. He literally had a disgusting sexual assault allegation. Disgusting. If you read, and then the people tried to threaten that girl. He had like a whole team of people like text her and threaten her. And then Tom Brady still went out and said, let's get him. And Tampa Bay was like, all right, let's bring him on board. So where was the racism then? Where if Antonio Brown was a white player, they would have said he got away with all of that because he's white. That's what they would say. They would say he got away with all of that because he was white. If he was black, he wouldn't have been in the league anymore. And yet he was given chance after chance after chance after chance. Same thing with Terrell Owens. Being a detriment to the Eagles and, causing all this drama over the years, whether he was with the 49ers, the Eagles, the Cowboys, whatever, he was causing trouble everywhere he went. And yet he was still given chances. He was still getting paid money, and big teams wanted him, like the Eagles, like the Cowboys. Okay? So you can't just say that this is race or that, if Travis Kelce was black, he would have been treated differently. It's just not true. It's just not true. I mean, ask yourself this question. Will Smith smacking, Chris Rock. If that was a white guy, oh my God, imagine if a white guy hit Chris Rock, hit a black man at the Academy Awards. My God, that would be a field day. My God, that guy would be never working again and would be canceled. The biggest cancellation, he'd be bigger canceled than Weinstein, whatever the heck the guy's name is. So to bring race into this discussion, I think is just dumb because it's just not accurate. Whether that was a black quarterback, we've seen Patrick Mahomes scream. Patrick Mahomes was screaming at Andy Reid that one year when he hurt his leg, when he hurt his ankle. I think it was just last season, and he was screaming at Andy Reid to say like, "Let me back in the game, let me back in the game." And Andy Reid was like, "No, like you need to go back and get an X-ray or you need to get evaluated before you get back in." And he was screaming at him. Okay, so it's just. I hate that we bring this to race when it's not a race conversation, okay? We should be having a different conversation with regards to this, and we should be calling out Travis Kelce, and we should be calling out that behavior, and just in general. And also we should be praising Andy Reid for being able to handle it in that moment, because I think a lot of coaches would have snapped. I think a lot of coaches would have screamed and would have said, started freaking out and pointing and looked for other assistant coaches and other players to do something about it. But he just stayed stone cold, ice in his veins. So Andy Reid should be praised for that too. So those are the conversations we should be having, not the color of Travis Kelce's skin, because that's just absurd. Darren Waller, a black man who's an addict, who, was struggling, was given multiple chances. The one wide receiver who I cannot think of his name at all, who was also an addict, kept relapsing, was given chance after chance after chance after chance, and he kept being re-invited back into the NFL. That guy was black. I know I did a bad job of not knowing his name. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. For the life of me, I can't think of his name right now. So this idea that these athletes, what it comes down to is it's not race in the NFL. you're treated differently based on how good you are. And if you win, if you're really, really great, we'll give you all the second chances in the world. All the ones you want, no matter if you're black, white, this, that, doesn't matter. But if you're not that good and you're not good enough to really help us win and you act like that, I don't care if you're black, white, gay, straight, left, right, whatever. See ya. Money talks. That's what it comes down to. Travis Kelce right now is money. The moment he's no longer money, it's different. It's different. Look at Draymond Green. The Warriors were willing to put up with everything he had to throw at them. All of the chaos, all of the fighting, all of the mouth, this, that, absurd. They stood by him because they won them because he won them championships. The moment his performance started to go under just because he's getting older, and the moment that they're no longer winning, he needs to be suspended. We need to work with him. He needs to reevaluate his behavior. Everything changes. Everything changes. So money talks, performance talks, winning talks. The moment you stop doing those things, see ya. That's what it comes down to, not race. But what do you guys all think? I would truly love to hear your thoughts on this one, because this is something that I'm obviously pretty passionate about. And this is not the direction that I thought this was going to go at all. I thought we were just going to talk about this. I didn't know they were going to bring up race. Silly me. Of course, we always have to bring race into conversations about these types of things. So would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Please let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.